Hello guys, here's Fabian with a quick update video on the Ryzen build I did months ago that's being water chilled. I did some modifications to the water chilling setup itself and made things more efficient. But most recently I added a 980 Ti and a water block to the loop. Added more heat to the loop itself, so I had to do some modifications to keep the temperatures thermally where I'd like to see them. But I'll start in the fridge as usual. Here's the reservoir. It's a little bigger than last time. 2 liter mark is up here, so I need to add some water to it, but it's a 2 liter reservoir. It's got the EKW pump and a SwiftTech pump. I did fix that SwiftTech pump. The impeller was broken, so I ordered a new one. For some reason, the manufacturing had a defect and the impellers, 2 of them were broken out, so I ended up buying the replacement impeller so it's working again, which gives me more pump head so I can have adequate flow. I felt like the EKW was struggling a little bit considering the length of all this, the length of the whole loop itself. So it starts down in the reservoir, drops down into that EKW, and then it comes back out. It comes back up, and then over here I have a splitter here for a parallel system. So one for the GPU, one for the CPU, which comes inside the case. You have your inlets over here and your outlets here that will then go back out into this splitter here, which collects it and then puts it back into one and then sends it over to the radiators, which is attached to that AC evaporator still. It's a 5000 BTU unit and has that 10-inch auxiliary fan still on it with that pulse width modulator that's controlled by the power supply. I have it off because it's noisy, as you can tell, so whenever I'm mining or whatever at work I can keep the fans turned up, and when I'm here I have some sound deadening headphones from Bose which work pretty well, but ideally I need to change that fan up. It's too noisy, but it does keep this evaporator though from freezing up, and it transfers that airflow to those radiators pretty well. So I'll turn that off. So then from the loop it comes out of that outlet, comes back down around into the pelter system, which is attached to that power supply. There's 2 pelters, but they're about 50 watts a piece, but they're attached to their own Molex connector because they each draw some amperage. I didn't want them to be on the same line. But you got 2 random heat sinks that I had laying around that I attached to the pelters, and in the middle down there is a water block which transfers the cold from the pelter. You know, you look up how it works, but I have these fans here to dissipate these heat sinks because they do produce some heat, and then the more you can dissipate these heat from the pelters, the colder the cold side will get. So I'm hoping, you know, with the summer coming up, that I can keep these relatively cooler to keep the transfer of water temp down as it passes through. But this comes in from the top from the radiators, and then it comes through out here in the outlet, and then it comes back in the fridge to the SwiftTech pump down here, and then it gets pumped up to the 20 feet of copper piping in the freezer, and then it goes back into the reservoir, and this cycle starts all over. But that's the loop itself, nothing new, just a few more components that I added to it. I'll show you some Cinebench scores and Firestrike scores and some temperatures and whatnot from the hardware monitor. So here's hardware monitor. You can see the specs that I've got going on here, temperature, thermal wise, and you know, voltages and whatnot. 1800X, you know, 47C max peak that I hit. I mean that's fine with me, considering that I am running close to 4.2. System idles, that's relatively, I don't know, usually between 25, like it's like 30 idles usually. Scroll down to the 90 Ti, idles around 16, and max loads like 23, 25. So it really helped. That reference cooler was crap, and constantly hitting 90 degrees C, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna water chill it too. It doesn't break a sweat now on that, which is why I'm able to push it pretty hard. The memory itself, let's see, let's go to the Cinebench score. I increased my Corsair Vengeance memory frequency from 3000 to 3200, and got much better results through Cinebench scores as that increased my score, you know, and I was pretty happy with that. So there's a Cinebench score on that. You can see that I am, let's see, 3200 megahertz down there on the Corsair Vengeance, and we'll go over to the fire. Actually, we'll go to CPU ID first and show you a little bit. So that's my memory clocks right there, you can see. And here's the CPU. You can see that I'm running the 1800X at the core speed and the multiplier that I'm at. I believe it's at 165 or 166 on the FSB. I haven't been in the BIOS in a little while, so. And the main board's that can't even speak. The ASUS Crosshair Hero board. I don't think I have the latest BIOS because everything's been stable, so I haven't had the need to bother with that. And then that's the Cinebench score. I'll show you the EVGA overclock on that 980 Ti. For some reason, this reference card doesn't like the voltage to be all the way up. It's a little bit more unstable for some reason. But these are the current clock speeds that I use for 24/7 use, gaming, mining, so be it. And I've had good results with that clock speed, and good results also on Fire Strike. Here's my score for that 90 Ti and 1800X, the graphics score and the physics score. Did fairly well. You can take a look for your at these results here. And I'd only placed 6th place though out of all the 1800Xs out there with 980 Ti, so that's fine with me, I suppose. I'm not gonna sit here and try to, you know, tweak this so much that I can, you know, beat the rest of the guys. I'm just happy where I'm at and that it's working 24/7 use. I mean, I already have enough time in this anyways. So besides the whole point, the loop itself is still running. I've had good results since in the summertime, coming up soon too. And in the winter it was a piece of cake. I probably should have gone higher with my clock speeds, but regardless, if you want to do a custom water chiller setup, it definitely is worth it. I mean, this particular setup works still as an AC unit, so it still blows cold air in my room, so it still chills the air in here. And the refrigerator still works as a refrigerator, so I'm still keeping my beverages cold, so I'm not losing out on that. So overall, I mean, this is